What's up guys, it's T90 Official and welcome to another amazing game of Age of Empires 2. This one is a little bit different and it is the beginning of a new series, a series I do not have a name for yet, so you can feel free to give me ideas in the YouTube comments. This series is on another level of the classic games you've seen before on this channel. It is actually going to get more in depth on the details of the actual games and the time frame and what event they were in. Now, quickly before it starts, I was with Nilpferd in Germany, and he's been playing this game almost ever since it came out at a very high level, so he is aware of all the changes and all these amazing games that have happened that you probably have not seen before. So, without any further ado, Nilly and I are actually going to be co-casting this one. Make sure to leave a like on the video, guys, and I hope you enjoy. Hello YouTube, and welcome to a classic game. It's been a while since we've done one of these, and there's a little bit of backstory to this one, so before we get started, I'm going to talk a little bit. I have Nilpferd with me, and Nilpferd I had met in Germany not too long ago, and when we were in Germany, we had a group of guys, and we were talking about all these Age of Empires memories they've had, and Neely's been around the game for a very long time, and he talked about some games that piqued my interest, so here we are. It's going to be a YouTube series. I don't know if it'll have a name or not yet, but it's going to highlight some epic games from the past. Now, Nilly, before we actually start the game here, could you tell us everything you know about the settings of this? Was it a tournament? And the time frame and the players?
Okay, hello and welcome guys as well from me. And yeah, the game is from 2002 and is from the offline German qualifier, whoever flies to WCG at that year. And it was all Arabia. I believe it was picked civilization, but basically everyone picked Huns at that time. And we are deep in the phase. I believe we are in the loser bracket. And we are looking into a best of 3, and whoever wins this series is actually advancing and is going to fly to Korea.
Wow, so they flew to Korea in 2002 for Age of Empires. That's insane.
Yeah. Actually, that year, well, we can talk later about the meta and 2-1, but yeah, the meta we will see was very special. And yeah, 2 very known German players, at that time at least, SRS Curse and Calyx No Milk, Calyx No Milk, actually a good friend of mine. I was at his wedding. And yeah, everyone is still talking about this very special game.
All right, well, as my understanding, this was in a best of 3 from the series, so we're not going to cast all of the games, because this was a special one. And Nilly, I think we could start the game now. We are both watching a rec. It's very old, obviously, so 3, 2, 1. What is that at the top right, and why should people pay attention to it, Nilly?
So, since we are playing offline at that time, it was tough to have a real good schedule. I believe it was in 16-player offline finals, I believe played in Leipzig, Germany. And to really fit into the schedule, we always played time limit at that time. And it is only 500 years, I believe that's around the 45-minute mark only.
Wow, so they had the time limit just so they could fit in so many games for these tournaments, I guess. And if people don't know what that is, people that are watching, that means if no one GGs or taps out, before that gets to 0, whoever has the highest score once it gets to 0 wins, correct?
Exactly that, yeah.
Alright, well, we'll see what happens in this game. It is a Hunt War, so I'll introduce the players, and then we'll cast it as a normal game. Again, this is from 2002, so that's 15 years ago now. And it's awesome, Nilly, that you're still in touch with these guys. And remember this very game. So, in the yellow is Calyx No Milk. Calyx No Milk, playing as the Huns, as Nilly said. And in the teal is SRS Curse. And we'll start with No Milk's map. He has a nice main gold on the back, a little bit disturbed by his wood line he's choosing. But it's nice to have both the wood and the gold in the same spot for defense. Also another wood line below his town center. And to the right of his TC, he does have some hills on the front, which he will be worried about later on in this game. He's a back stone if he wants to go towers or something like that. And overall, this is a very good map to wall too, Nilly. So I like this map for him. And then SRS Curse, also with a good map, honestly. 3 good wood lines, some slight hills. there's a back gold for him, and there's deer to lure. In fact, there's 2 back golds. I guess the one annoying thing for him will be the stone piles on the front.
Yeah, probably. But something we have to remember, like the level of gameplay was so much lower at that time that maps got rarely decided by actually like having bad wood spots or gold spots, but mainly like who's the better player here.
Okay, so you're telling me that if I played back in 2002, I would have been going to Korea?
It was close, but yeah, you absolutely would have been like top 5 Germany. Like the level was very, very different. Let's call it that way.
Yeah, I remember, and to those on YouTube, if you haven't seen this yet, you should check it out. I believe it's called Classic Islands game, and it was from the very first Nations Cup before Nations Cup got really popular, and it was USA versus Italy, actually. And if you find that game on YouTube, I can even link it in the video description for this. It was a great game, don't get me wrong, but the level of play for that being the Nations Cup final was pretty poor by today's standards.
Yeah, absolutely. And I still remember, I haven't seen that game in years, obviously, but I still remember one sentence after they won, the winner said, "Guys, I love you more than my girlfriend."
I didn't know that. It wasn't in the game room chat. That is so cool. Yeah. When we were in Germany, it was so fun to listen to you and to Shine talk about your tournaments that you played versus, well, Doubt, who's still in the game, but everybody else is pretty much gone, and talking about everything you had to deal with then, and just remembering every single moment. It was the coolest thing. I'm sure I'll be the same way in years to come.
Yeah, probably. And yeah, the level obviously low, not because of the lack of trying, but just think about it. Like, people had to figure out, how many people do I put on sheep here to have a constant villager production? How many on wood to add some farms? And everything had to be figured out new. And the game was only out roughly 2 years as well.
Yeah, I remember watching you cast a game, and I think people in the chat were talking about how the level of play back then was bad, and oh man, we would have been so good back then. And Neely goes, it's so unfair because you play the game now and you have all the build orders online. You can look at these top players, they have all the build orders. It took them over 10 years to establish these build orders. He goes, it's so unfair. I had to do it all from scratch.
Yeah, that's true. And like, you had to figure out, like, how good is the Titanic Knight? Like, yeah, he's slow, but can we use him and in what situations? And now you just open a Reddit thread, say, I like Titanic Knight, and you get 5 flame posts why they are bad. So it's so much easier.
Exactly. Exactly. And it really tells us how much we do know about the game now. And we gotta not take that progression over time for granted, right? You have to remember that to get to where we are now, it took us a long period of time. There was an evolution of empires. So
yeah, absolutely. Give me an update on your time, maybe.
Yeah, I'm at 7:55.
Oh, that's perfect. And we just saw No Milk lose his scout, sadly. And
yes,
yeah, so that's why he wrote the 9 in the chat. And you see, people are adding farms a lot earlier, and your typical uptime at that, yeah, age, I would say, 2002 was like pop 25. And if you wanted to play something aggressive, you went up for the quick pop 24.
Okay, so nowadays the very aggressive uptime would be on population 19 or 20. And a lot more population and a lot more lumber camps, and I've seen 2 lumber camps nowadays, but No Milk is going for 3 lumber camps to have the most efficient wood line possible. And that's so foreign to me, and probably foreign to you nowadays, Millie, but that's how it was back then. No one has clicked up yet, but if they are going for 25, it'll be very close. And we'll see what the attack will be.
Yeah, and to see No Milk actually having a pretty good start here. I believe he should be reaching village around 11:30, so that's only 10 seconds late. And yeah, just remember, guys, people weren't used to play in lag-free environments. You just have to compare. Like, nowadays, everyone is complaining, like, oh god, my villager isn't moving instantly. In the old days, when everyone had like a 56k modem, like, if your villager moved at all, you were happy.
Yeah, didn't you tell me that you played and there was a 3-second delay, so when you were luring a boar, you had to basically shoot to make your villager run back before it even fired the first shot?
Yeah, it was worse than that. We had more than 3 seconds. It was just like 6 players and like 3 Chinese, 3 Germans, and everyone had ping 6,000, which was the highest that was displayed. Yeah, it was tough in the old days.
Well, kudos for still doing that. I probably would have just played some bots offline or something. And Nilly obviously has the competitive spirit, and Yellow is walling up a bunch. Now, we are watching this, in my opinion, a little bit slower than it would have been in like a standard 1v1 now. But I guess if they did... Wait, this was offline, right? Offline finals?
Yeah, it was offline. Maybe it is because you are too used to 1.5 as well.
Yeah, that's true. I'm probably used to Voobly 1.5. But anywho, we have archery range for Yellow, and like I said, his base is easily wallable. He's done that. Teal is just starting his walls as well, and he is on gold, so maybe archers for him. And I believe we're going to see maybe skirmishers from Yellow. That's what my today's meta would be.
Yeah, that's the absolute meta at that time. You went 2 archery ranges, and it was just a difference. Do you go for them aggressively or defensively? But it was never an option to go for scouts or archers or anything. Like M&As weren't developed till, I believe, 2010 or something.
Oh, wow. So there was no love for Man-at-Arms for quite some time. Well, now there's quite a lot of love for Man-at-Arms and pretty much any strategy. But this trash build effectively cancels out any gold units, which is probably why they're doing this. They already have the walls, so archers can't get in. And then he's instead just going to go skirmishers himself, just to basically make sure he doesn't receive any damage and take this to Castle Age. Now, SRS Curse is going Blacksmith Market, no barracks, and is going to build a watchtower on his gold. So this indicates he's going to go for what could be seen as a greedy fast castle.
Indeed, yeah, and the problem was that No Milk did not see anything yet, because he lost the scout so early. He's now sending the spearman to the front, but he is not scouting that much because, he can't jump over walls.
Yeah, it's the importance of scouting. He can't see the strategy choice. He can't see the map, so those are 2 very important things. Kellogg's No Milk may have changed his entire strategy if he had seen something behind these walls from SRS Curse. Now, the one downside for Curse is that he cannot really build another tower because his stone is forward and he walled that out. So if units loop around, and Yellow's only sending trash forward now, but he is on the way, he could be in a tough position because he still has to cook up the Castle Age to make any military.
Yeah, Milky, I want to call him because that's like his nickname. He is, not on gold yet, is adding a lot of farms, so super far away from Castle Age. And his first troops didn't do any damage at all. Curse now adding a barracks.
Yeah, so he's adding the barracks, and he is on the way to Castle, and he's adding a stable. No surprise there. So with a few knights, he would clear up all of Yellow's skirmishers, and Yellow's just sitting outside the walls, and he probably thinks it's full walled. It is not, but there's a clock here if he wants to do any damage. Of course there's a hole, because 2002 there were still holes. That's the one thing that hasn't changed, and the units are on the way. But yeah, we'll see what SRS Curse can do in Castle Age.
And everyone was obviously playing with the big trees, so like walling was so much tougher at that time as well.
There was no... That's just mind-blowing to me. There was no small trees mod either. Yeah, no grid mod, no spectator overlay, of course. That's pretty cool that you pointed that out, because I'd take this for granted.
Yeah, and it's so much is not, and people are so like confused nowadays how this was able and how we were really able to play at that time. And it was tough, but we still loved the game.
Yeah, well, Yellow has lost his only spearman, and Bloodline's on the way for SRS Curse, so that's just an upgrade for his soon-to-be knights. He doesn't quite have the food at the moment, but he will be able to make a few. Yellow is full-walled back at home, and resources are looking pretty good, even adding a second layer of palisade walls and some stone walls, just to make sure knights cannot get in.
Yeah, I like this because he knows this guy, he could be up. He still didn't scout any real buildings. Yeah, he saw 2 stables, but, well, he saw the market and the blacksmith at the front as well. But he knows he didn't do any damage and is even going home with this army. Wants to save those 4 units.
Yeah, he didn't go for any type of harassment there. He probably knew he wouldn't be able to kill anything, so he's just going to try and get to the castle age as soon as possible. And then, you know, there will be a plan B. SRS Curse, again, didn't have the resources for a lot of knights, but does have +1 defense and does have bloodlines on them, and will be up against palisade walls on the left side at least. So maybe he can get in, but I highly doubt it, as Kellogg No Milk wants to make sure that he is safe for now. Now, Nearly, we're almost halfway there with this clock at the top right. It's at 272 years.
Yeah, and that was the fast pace that was played in the old days, like long drawn out feudal games. We rarely saw a game actually going till the clock. So people ended the game before because like the skill gap was just so big at that time that no one really complained, oh, this game could be too short, and no one had a real advantage.
Huh, well, and certainly yellow right now does have a small disadvantage. Now, I don't know what the meta was back then, Nilly, for town centers, but yeah, teal is going for a second town center and still pumping out the knights. Yellow is just walling behind with the palisade walls. Yellow is actually getting scale barding himself, which is peculiar because he doesn't have a stable. I don't know if that's a misclick or what. But he's on his way to castle age. He should be safe, and he has all of his precious resources in his base with the wood and the gold.
Yeah, so he's super safe. I believe it is not a misclick. I think he could switch into knights, but yeah, he for now has lots of spearmen, a handful of skirmishers, and yeah, focusing on not upgrading them so far. So interesting choice for sure.
Well, I noticed when I thought he would be adding in archers, he didn't have a lot on gold. If you look at his food and his gold count, he actually has quite a setup for knights if he wants to do that. And currently, teal doesn't know what's going on. The curse is behind walls. He assumes it's going to be archers, but he really doesn't know. So similar situation, I guess, to yellow earlier, not knowing what curse will do. Well, now he knows, but curse doesn't know what he will do, and it will be at least 2 stable knights for Kellogg Snow Milk.
Maybe he could assume it because all the other units aren't upgraded yet, but not really sure if he was focusing on that so heavily and try to interpret it that heavily.
Well, the total Vil count's pretty even. I feel like if this would be in 2017, teal would have 5 to 10 more villagers at this stage. But he has been quite aggressive with the knights. You saw yellow send out some spears on the hill, and it sent teal back home. And then the knights on the left haven't really done too much, but he is slightly gaining in villagers' ease as the 2 villager lead, and he has an extra TC. Yellow is now in the castle age and is going for, pikemen, and he's building a 3rd stable, so this is very aggressive.
Yeah, and he wants to go full aggression for sure. 10 villages ahead, probably not that much to think about. Curse had to build a defensive tower as well. Did a lot of upgrades there, bloodlines +1 defense, and yeah, but still, yeah, we would say a flash doing nothing. Normally, Curse should be ahead even more than he is at the moment.
Yeah, well, yellow needs to be careful because his layer of palisade wall is about to go down. That villager's on the way. He's been paying attention to that. And it looks like he's sending the pikemen forward. And he's going to send 5 pikemen. He could actually harass that wood line. That would be an annoying thing for Curse to find. And we'll see if he does.
Yeah, especially because he only has 2 stables for now. So there's no real counter for him. And now we can see he's fed up with buying stone and now sending some villagers to the front. He wants to build some more towers, but now breaking through at the front.
Yeah, he's broken through, but what is he going to find? He's going to find yellow's knights. Now, both players have the same upgrades here. Yellow has a lot more numbers, and Kellogg Snow Milk is 5 villages behind, but he is 8 or 9 now military ahead. And he's going to try and push out and do some damage. He hasn't gone to an extra town center yet. His economy seems to be a little bit rough with the expired farms, but hey, I do that all the time. It's fine.
And yeah, you're mentioning town centers quite a bit. You have to think about it though. Since we only have 195 years now left, is it really worth it to have a very strong economy, but let your enemy push you because you didn't invest enough into army?
It's a really good point. It really isn't. If at this stage you have around 50 villagers, you should have the economy to continue to pump out military, and that's exactly what both players are doing. So, good point there, Nilly. It's just something we're not used to nowadays. So the viewers at home who were thinking that, well, probably better to make military here. And it is 3 TCs for Teal, but if you look at the food count, because he's putting some of that food, or much of that food, into town centers, he doesn't have as many knights, but Yellow not patrolling to start this attack, and there we go. The pikemen and the knights are going to attack Teal, and Teal's actually going to run away from this with the villagers and with the knights, so didn't have the numbers he needed.
Yeah, and yeah, that's a sweet kill of like 3 knights, a villager there, doing a lot of damage, and yeah, Kellogg's No Milk has a full control now. Obviously, a bit of the weaker eco, but also going heavily into pikemen is a nice counter to what Curse has as well.
Yeah, you can go pikemen, you can go knights. At this stage, it's not going to be that realistic to add in archers to counter the pikemen, because there's so many knights out there from Yellow. Teal, unfortunately, forgetting about this woman, and that woman is going to die, so that's one of those extra villagers down. And 170 years now. There are some cav archers on the way for Kellogg's No Milk, so he is adding in the cav archers himself out of the ranges he's already built, and he looks to have a great advantage in this game.
But cav archers without any upgrades, but yeah, he feels he can do the damage and is sending 2 villagers forward to build an aggressive siege workshop, and really is trying to put on the pressure in the face here of our player SRS Curse.
Well, SRS Curse is just going for a 4th town center. At this point, this feels like a game you would see without a time limit, because SRS Curse understands he has more villagers. If he gets that extra town center up, he can protect his economy. And to be honest, he really can't be troubled that much at home, except at the top where the cav archers and knights are coming in. So this is good if there's no time limit, but as you said, Nilly, I am skeptical that this is the best decision. But let's see if he could take a big fight against Yellow at the top, or against Yellow's army, who's currently on the hill with the pikemen. Curse has a lot more numbers in this fight, and there wasn't that many pikemen, but the pikemen are still running around here. I think Curse will win this engagement, and will have to run away from his woodbine at the top.
Let's take a look. It feels like Milky is losing a bit there, but yeah, the multitasking obviously so much worse in the old days, and yeah, not attacking at the top. Now another stable added here by Curse, and yeah, let's take a look at the military count again.
Well, it's 29 for Kellogg's No Milk, and it is 10 for Curse. The Curse still creating those extra villagers. He's now 11 ahead, but he doesn't have the knight production he needs. Now, this is so funny to me. Curse lost his palisade wall at the top, and there's an army there from Yellow, but Yellow's, you know, again, the multitasking wasn't as great back then. Yellow's just now running in. He's been there for a couple minutes, but this will be a nice attack. He does have fletching on his cav archers. He is currently suffocating his opponent with a huge score lead at 132 years, and he's going to force Curse to chase him now.
Yeah, and the score lead is enormous. Just think about it, like 4k to 3.2k. That's 25% more, and he is just so happy to run away and really, yeah, play it out from here out. Maybe take another big attack, combine his armies, or raid at different points. He has all the options at the moment.
Yeah, and you know, back at home, his economy's on 2 town centers himself. He's still sending knights out of 3 stables, every single one producing. And even the archery range is, for the most part, fully producing. He has 300 stone. He has 2 villagers forward on stone. I don't know if they'll stick around. But he's making battering rams like he wants to push this. Now, I don't know if pushing this is the best idea at this point. I agree fully with what you said earlier, Nilly, where it's probably best to just go full military. He's already doing a good job at that. SRS Curse is going for another town center at the top.
5 to C boom for him, heavily outnumbered when it comes to military. And we see now Milky pushing in here with the Rams, going for the frontal attack. And he's going for an interesting like mix of army, mainly knights, but he's fighting against only knights, of course, here.
Yeah. Now, the crazy thing to me is also the lack of upgrades that these guys, like, you would prioritize upgrades so much more nowadays, but both players do not have +2 defense on their knights. However, Yellow has a lot more overall military. You can see he took a good engagement with a small army on the right, and then on the left come the Rams and the Knights, and a 1k score lead for Kellogg Snowmilk at 100 years. This looks to be an easy win for Kellogg Snowmilk.
Yeah, he's in full control here. And you can see Curse cannot take any fights, needs to send a lot of villagers into the GC. But yeah, Snowmilk, he obviously knows if he just does not take any fights here and is just keeping his army, is upgrading them, is building that, he cannot lose this game. So falling back here is the absolute right strategic decision.
Yeah, he doesn't want to lose units to the town center. He doesn't want to give Teal an opportunity to counter. It's probably best just to hold this area. Throwing away a few knights underneath the TC there, but still has a huge advantage now. Population lead of 10, military lead of 26, and Teal continues to make villagers. His food count is slowly rising. He does have a lot of gold. Can he bridge the gap? He's now close to 30 military down.
Yeah, 30 military down, that's just so much, and Milky is going for all the armies here. Yeah, he isn't upgrading them to full potential. Look at that, only fletching on the CA, +1/+1 on the knights. The pikemen are looking not too great either. Let me find one. Oh, we don't have too many left, but...
Just +1, yeah.
Yeah. So, maybe let's talk a pause here, take a pause here.
Okay, let's do it.
90.
So...
And... yeah, let's recap and what situation both players are in now. Go ahead.
Okay, so Kellogg Snowmilk at this stage, again, this is a high stage. Kellogg Snowmilk has the game, really. He should have this game. He has all the map control. He has more military. He has the score lead. He's suffocating his opponent. And again, if this hits 0, when he has that high score, he should win this game. Teal? This is the time. This is the time for Teal to do everything in his power to either boost his score or win a fight on the front. So that would mean probably that knight upgrade we talked about and making more knights out of these 3 stables. It's going to be a tough task, Nilly. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, as I said before, like, Snowmilk, he has a solid eco, didn't get raided in ages. I believe he never lost a villager, really. He has a strong army, strong composition. He could annoy everywhere. He could raid everywhere. And yeah, Kurt at the moment in the back foot only has 3 stables as well. Yeah, has a nice protected eco, but that's not what really matters. And now I'm curious how they're playing this out, T90.
Well... I love how you act like you don't even know.
Like I wasn't ready. There.
I'm ready to show the viewers because currently, we'll unpause in 3, 2, 1. Currently, Kellogg Snowmilk is down 20 villagers, and those are 20 villagers that could be collecting economy for him. He has the military lead. That's what he sacrificed. Teal has sacrificed all of his military lead for these villagers, and he has to put that to work now. 61 military for Kellogg Snowmilk, and only 28 for SRS Curse at 67 years. And now Yellow's also getting Chain Barding. So he's getting that defense upgrade.
Yeah, and that's so good. And yeah, as you can see, Kellogg Snowmilk, he's trying to engage, but things like, okay, I don't really want to fight on TCs. He has a lot of knights. Maybe he can take a better engagement outside. Well, he's losing some skirmishes, but they don't really matter. At the moment, score difference still more than 800. Now, then Snowmilk is going in, but thinks better of it, and he's going back again.
Yeah, he doesn't want to engage here. He really doesn't. He has no reason to take this fight with score lead. Be a completely different situation if there wasn't this timer at the top right. But as we close in on 50 years now, SRS Curse getting Chain Barding himself. Now, the one thing I want to mention is the lack of upgrades on these Cav Archers. So they don't have ballistics, so they will miss some shots. They don't have +2, So the knight numbers are the most important thing here. If yellow loses his knights, and let's say teal has 10, 15 left, the rest of this army should die because there's not much in the way of upgrades on them. So full knights would be the better approach here. But again, yellow could just sit back. He could run back to his base, actually, because he has an 800-point score lead. It's at 44 years. Wow.
That's so true. If he just moves all his army back here, he wins the game with 40 years left.
Exactly. Just needs to hide in his base and start getting the stone walls up because he doesn't need to even take a fight here. But at this point, you know, you see what Kellogg's has seen. You see what yellow has seen. And you got to be thinking, man, this is a great situation. I'm going to call my friends. I'm going to tell them how good I did today. And we're going to be so happy. You know, I've played this game for years now. For 2 years, I guess. And I've had such a good time. And to have this performance in this game is such an amazing thing for me. And now Iron Casting coming in for both players at 30 years. And Teal is going to run out and try and take a fight. Or at least he's tempted to now. But I think this is the time.
Oh, and look at that. Still 600 points advantage. Fighting positioning there. So bad with all the knights. Not really fighting. The CA not doing the major damage there in the back. Now taking a better positioning though.
This is kind of where yellow goes, oh no, my stables are back at my base, so I really can't produce as fast as this guy. And look at Teal's stables. They are idle at the moment, but the military number he's gaining because he's killed the pikemen, and the cav archers are not that strong. And I know teal and yellow is kind of hard to see for us here, but I wanted to keep the colors because this is such a classic game. Teal is only 300 score behind now. Yellow has dipped below 6k. It's at 17 years, and I think these cav archers are going to die. This is going to be so close.
Well, if he just clicks back all his army, it's still even points, and now Curse, it's jumping back and forth. 11 years left.
It's so close. Teal, he has the score lead. He doesn't have the score lead. Yellow is trying to scramble back now, and if this game were to continue for another hour, maybe it would be close, but Teal has the score lead by 100 points. Yellow now needs to take a fight. He can't run any longer. He has to kill some units here.
He's trying to push him, but that's not really working. Now let's take a look at the chat.
Now, I don't know if I'm going to be able to see the chat, honestly, Nilly, because I didn't see it earlier. It's at 2 years, and SRS Curse surely now has won this game in the last 10 years. And I didn't see the chat, so what did they say? Because I missed it.
Well, Curse was just spamming 11 in the chat. Like, from 3 years on, he just spammed 11, and Kellogg's No Milk, no answer to that. Probably had his hands at his head, face palming.
Oh, man, I can't even imagine. He probably felt like he's in full control, and then to lose in the last 10 years, and for Teal to then spam 11. Oh, man, I don't think I'll never reach that level of assault in my life. I would be so salty if that happened to me. But man, what a game there. SRS Curse seems calculated, doesn't it? It was all part of the plan. What a great job there.
Oh man, yeah. And just think about it. Like, you know, already Fire and who was it else? Muse are already flying to Korea, and you have a shot of winning this best of 3 to fly over there and play, yeah, like a dream come true. Like, you're playing a computer game in 2002 and suddenly traveling the world. Yeah. And then this happens to you.
Oh man, yeah. It is kind of a shame for Yellow. You know, now he may be thinking, I should have got those upgrades. And with the upgrades, maybe I could have done it. I could have ran back to my base. I didn't have to take a fight. There are so many things that now that when you look back on it, you say, okay, Yellow did these things wrong. But really, SRS Curse did have a little bit of luck with the timing. If it was 20 years off, he would have lost. Now, this was a best of 3, and I believe this was game 2, right? So,
yes, indeed.
Can you spoil for people who moved on from these players who won game 3?
I think, honestly, let's do game number 3 another day.
Okay, we can do that.
That's going to be a very close one as well.
Okay, so we'll go on to game number 3 at some point. Sounds a little bit better than spoiling it. But this was an online or an offline final, which means they were in Germany, like a LAN?
Exactly. Leipzig,
Okay.
Germany. I believe it was in the old days where the Gamescom was even. I think it was in the old days of the Gamescom, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, it was in another city at that time.
Well, I'm sure if they were right next to one another, it'd probably make things even worse. When the 11s start getting spammed and you have to look at the guy afterwards. But what a great game there. And Nili, you and I had discussed a lot of different games with weird settings. Just things we never see nowadays because the level is so high where there's not as much room for mistakes, or they didn't play with the same settings, etc., etc. So I'm excited to get together with you in the future and show YouTube more games. A lot of my YouTube now are people who are coming back. So, hey, maybe one of these guys in the YouTube chat will remember these players. Who knows?
Yeah, I will link it for Kellogg's No Milk for sure.
Oh yeah, you're friends with them. Just send them the link and say, how's that make you feel after 15 years? That is funny. So here's the units killed and the units lost. 87 units killed for SRS Curse. Kellogg's No Milk was very close to the KD there. I even had the largest army, just didn't have the upgrades he needed and the production speed. If you compare the economy, of course, not a huge surprise that SRS Curse had more economy with the exception of the gold and the stone. But it worked out for him there. And then the uptimes as well. Only feudal and castle because of the game mode. Research percentage even the same. Overall, pretty close game, I think. But with that timer, that was just something else.
Yeah, as I said, like it's still a meme and a legend in the German Age of Empires community. And yeah, like everyone who was around at that time saw that game and was talking about it because it was like at such high stake and such, that's called stupidity.
Well, what did you do back then? And then we'll send the viewers on to the next video. What did you do back then to watch Rex? Could you load up Rex recorded games?
Like
okay.
Yeah, exactly. Like if you as a person were uploading your personal rec, and yeah, it was just different.
So Kellogg's
no
No Milk probably deleted his personal rec, and SRS Curse probably uploaded his right away.
Well, yeah, since it was like official WCG tournament, all the recs were uploaded.
Okay, got it.
At that time, Robo wasn't the admin at that time.
Yeah. We had to get a robo dig in there, but okay, well, that's good to know. So people were excited to download Rex and whatnot. Nili, I would almost be a good idea to, next time we do this, to talk about some of the things we talked about in Germany. I remember you saying how you found a build order website and you freaked out, and started improving your play and luring boars and whatnot. I think it'd be good to have a segment for that separately. But YouTube, make sure to check out Nili's YouTube channel. I do have that linked in the description. He's a lot of he's covered a lot of tournaments, but also has his famous King of the Hippo events, which are King of the Hill events, which have been amazing, and he has them in playlists. And obviously has been around the community for a very long time and has a lot of knowledge for us. I will catch you guys next time. If you're watching the YouTube video still, make sure to leave a like and subscribe for future content. And you guys have a great rest of your day.